Today on the Decision Lab, we talk about, does lion's mane actually stimulate nerve growth factor, and do AI models make good therapists?
We also talk about the greenwashing scandal happening in the supplement industry. Have you heard about that? There are some of the largest brands on earth that are not as clean or transparent as we thought they were, which is wild. And we also, in our Inside the Lab conversation, talk about honey massages. Pouring warm honey all over your body and having it massaged. Is this beneficial to you? All of this and more inside today's episode. Stick around. Welcome back to the Decision Lab. Just Chloe and I today, like we're starting to do on Thursdays. Pumped to be here with y'all. Today we got a wild agenda. We're talking about new research on lion's mane, which I know Chloe will love. The rise of AI-powered therapy, which I will love, and greenwashing, a greenwashing scandal in the supplement space. Surprise, surprise. Let's dive in. First of all, first thing you put on our agenda is this lion's mane thing. So talk to me. What's going on?
Yeah, so there was a new study published in Nature Neuroscience this April that confirmed lion's mane contains bioactive compounds that significantly stimulate nerve growth factor. And this also enhances memory retention in animals. And so this is just kind of the next step in proving that lion's mane does this. We already had quite a bit of a data around lion's mane stimulating the growth of nerve growth factor, but now we have a better understanding of how it does that.
Yeah, this is an interesting one because there's a very big difference in nerve growth factor. That's such a vague term.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people say lion's mane helps you grow new brain cells. It's not quite true necessarily. New synapses could also make your brain cells grow. There's lots of different ways. Did it delineate at all between what it is specifically growing?
I'm not sure. I'm looking through the study right now.
Oh, no worries. I just didn't know if you had known any of this stuff off the top of your head. But because Dr. Brian not Brian. Oh my God. I just realized that his name is Dr. Ben. He just changed all of his social medias because so many people were calling him Dr. Brian. Wild. But Dr. Ben from Stanford just he's going through every supplement on earth and doing a review of them and looking at the actual research and stuff. I don't know if this was in his thing, but he just delineates between what it means to stimulate the growth of new brain cells. And I thought it was a really interesting review. So, yeah, but this is cool.
It's really helpful too because it's believed that lion's mane also increases BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. And so what does that mean, right? And to the average person, nobody really understands what that means. But is that growing new brain cells? Is that repairing brain cells? Is that new synapses? And a lot of this is just we don't know because doing a full kind of clinical study and MRI, full body scans, brain scans, it's very, very expensive to conduct this research.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that he did, bottom line, kind of find general support overall for its benefits, its general benefits, but the specific mechanistic claim that people make about growth is where I think he had a sticking point. So it's interesting. And I see in your notes up here, it showed improvements in short-term memory in vivo. For people who do not know what that means, in vivo versus in vitro. In vivo is in real life. Mm-hmm. So it's not in a petri dish where you're dropping BDNF on nerve cells and see what happens. That is an oversimplification, but in vivo is awesome. It still looks like this is in animal models and in mice, rats, things like that. But that's still cool that it's in an actual living organism and having some of these.
Do you take lion's mane?
Yeah, I do. It's in it's in so many things. It's in Magnetic Mind, I'm pretty sure. Isn't it? Yeah, okay. So I take that almost every day.
Yeah.
I need to, I'd have to look. I take that almost every day. And then MindRight has this coffee enhancer that's cacao, lion's mane, reishi, all these beautiful, delicious things. And it's so good. And cinnamon. And I swear to God, if it's placebo, I'm freaking fine with that. But I am laser focused. There's some coffee extract or something in there as well. Incognate or something. And so, yeah, I'm a fan of lion's mane personally.
Yeah, I really like it.
What do you like it for? What's it like for you? What's the experience for you?
I find I just have better focus. It really helps me with my ADHD symptoms. I always very often recommend lion's mane if it doesn't give you headaches for people with ADHD.
Interesting. I like that. Well, this is cool. I like it. It's not test tube. There's real mechanisms that they're starting to look at. So I'm excited to see where lion's mane goes from here.
Yeah. I also was reading that in Spain, doctors are literally prescribing it to prevent Alzheimer's and dementia. So let's see. That's exciting. We need a lot more research on it, but I hope that this is just another step towards that research happening.
Me too. That'd be awesome. I would love that. Mel, one of her best friends, is married to a neuroscientist who studies neurodegenerative diseases. And so it'd be interesting to send this past him. Dr. Jesse. All right, let's talk about AI therapist. All right. This is very interesting. There is a
Mhm.
surge in chatbots trained on ChatGPT. Talk to me. What's happening?
Well, there's been like a massive amount of apps and companies popping up that are using AI instead of therapists. And I mean, this is even happening in like the language training space and so many spaces. And so it's going to be really interesting to see like the risks versus the benefits on this. Because on one hand, there's a new trial from Stanford, and they found that people that used a CBT trained chatbot for just 10 minutes a day experience a 32% drop in anxiety symptoms. And this was happened over 4 weeks. So I'm like, wow, that's actually a huge benefit. And maybe talking to a chatbot reduces the maybe discomfort of talking to a human. Maybe it's more difficult because you're embarrassed to share what's going on in your mind. I'll give like a real life example for me. This isn't even with therapy, but I'm learning Portuguese right now. And I can learn with a real tutor or I can learn with a chatbot tutor. And I'm like, oh, I'd way rather learn with a chatbot tutor because if I screw up, it's like less intimidating.
Interesting. That's cool.
At least to
How's it
me, that's
going?
like
Is
how my
it?
mind thinks about it.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. Like that is statistically seen across many dimensions, not just like fear of embarrassment and things like that. How's it going? How's the Portuguese coming along? Is the AI tutor helpful?
Yeah, it is. I'm still like super, super new, so I can't really like say how helpful it is because I'm not even really conversational yet. I think in like 2 or 3 weeks when I'm able to carry out more of a conversation, I'll have a better idea of whether that's the route I want to keep going.
Interesting. Yeah, it's cool. For listeners who do not know, one of the companies that I have soft launched is My Companion, which is an AI like therapist. My perspective on them is this study is interesting because it specifically attacks anxiety. I'd have to look at it more in depth, but cognitive behavioral therapy is really attacking feelings, thoughts, and actions, and thought patterns, and cognitive reappraisal, and like automatic negative thoughts, and all those types of things. And so can be super, super useful for anxiety and grounding in the present moment. DBT is a great one too, dialectical behavioral therapy. Something I'm curious about though is how like they experienced the CBT trained chatbot for just 10 minutes a day. Like, was this in the middle of a panic attack? Was this like, what did that look like? What was the session look like? Were they asking questions back and forth? So I'd be curious to see like what the effect was, because having a distraction in the middle of a panic attack is a really great way to help you get grounded in the present moment. So if someone has something that's 24/7, 365 that never turns off, that they can always go to if they're having a panic attack, that in and of itself could be relieving as well. Like they have a safety net, period. And so that could be interesting. As far as their actual effectiveness, I'm still skeptical, and there's a long way to go. Like I've tested a lot of these myself, Wobot and Wiza, and what's the other one? There's a couple other ones that I've tested, and it's challenging because the back and forth. Like they ask a couple questions and like, oh, go do this thing, and it's like mindfulness or something very top down, cognitive behavioral, like cognitive type thing. I'm skeptical, especially for trauma and like bottom up methodologies and things like that. And I'm skeptical that their blanket solutions are not tailored or like specific for an individual. They're just asking a couple questions and then giving a blanket thing. So I'd be interested to what I want to build is one that's based on IFS, which can work someone through their parts and getting to know themselves and exploring their inner world and be very Socratic and question based, and work with their parts. I think that would be super, super helpful. And there's also safety concerns. Like you can very quickly with these chatbots get to a point. I work again exclusively in the trauma space, and I would go to some of these chatbots and ask them, "Hey, I'm thinking about anything like self-injury or self-harm or something like that," and that you rapidly get shifted to call this number type of thing, and it's not helpful. For someone who's actually struggling with that in the moment, it would not be useful. Whereas if they were talking to me, I could walk them through that. So it's interesting. I'm interested in, my personal belief is like a human in the loop type connection, where AI is the like triage and the initial piece, like asking questions and getting to know someone, understanding their history, understanding their habits, patterns, routines, what your sleep like, your exercise, your nutrition, and fine tuning those things. And then when people really need support or help, they can get transitioned and a human can be there and for them in the loop type of thing. What's your thoughts?
I agree. I think we need to really clearly define where AI is helpful and where its limitations are. And like you said, like I think in a panic attack situation, AI can be exceptionally helpful. But when it comes to self-harm, anything really, really extreme, I think that human touch is going to be needed.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I am an absolute like AI chatbot, AI therapy, like maximalist. Like I am all for it. I truly, truly believe it is the future. And I'll be blunt. We were 2024, I believe, 32,000 therapists short of demand. By 2026, we're about to be 150,000 short of demand.
Whoa.
It's bad. The gap is huge. Do I want to replace humans? No, there's not humans to replace. So it's not replacing humans. Objectively, it is not doing that. It is helping people that have zero help. And so I'm huge on that. And I really, really do believe in the future, there's already language models that are more emotionally present than doctors and can detect patterns in voice and shifts in voice, in the way people's face show up, in the way they dress, and all these subtle things that it's hard for humans to objectively measure yet. That's one thing. The other thing is the amount of data that they can integrate. I'm very passionate about objective measurements of mental and emotional health. If an AI can analyze my Whoop data or my Oura Ring data on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, quarterly, yearly basis, think how much it can improve your mental and emotional health with actual data and give you an objective measurement of your mental and emotional health. And like the Six app that we talk about all the time, they can predict your emotional resilience and mental health 2 days in advance. Like, imagine being able to see a projection of, hey, if you're on this path, in a year from now, you're going to be depressed in bed and not able to do anything. Here are things you can do to prevent that future. I just think that we're not far away from that, and I'm actively pushing that myself. So I want that to happen. I think it would help a lot of people. I think it would help more people than it would harm.
I agree. Completely agree.
Yeah. So interesting. I like it. Interesting advancements. There's ethics and data security and all sorts of shit that we need to figure out, but it will be figured out. If we know one thing about human evolution and pushing forward humanity, it will happen. Things will work, and it'll figure itself out. So I love that. Would you use one? Would you use an AI therapist?
Yeah, I would try
right
one
now, today?
Yeah, why not?
Why?
I think I would prefer a human therapist. I think I'm very much an ease and efficiency person. So I'm wow, if I can just download an app and get an AI therapist, and it's way more cost effective than a human being, which I'd have to go drive to in person, and I don't have a car or set up a phone call with or something like that. I really like the convenience of it.
Got it. So it's super convenient, and if it's very accurate and actually helpful, you'd stick with it.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of times where you're oh my gosh, I need support now. And where a therapist, you might have to book a few weeks out, or maybe you have a weekly appointment, maybe it's Monday and your appointment's on Fridays. I think that could be really helpful for bridging the gap to in between appointments, maybe.
%. Yeah, that's huge. I think that's one of the places that it best could be useful. The number of my clients that have panic attacks, not on a call with me, but in the middle of the night at 2 a.m., that's when they need it. And I'm asleep. So that's interesting. I like that. I'm excited to see how this advances into the future. So we should get some of these people on the pod. It'd be interesting to talk with them. Drop in the comments. What are AI therapist bots that you know? And then 2, would you use them? Or have you tried them? What's your experience with these? I'd love to read your comments and understand what you're up to in relation to this. All right. Talk to me about greenwashing. Can't believe it. We got another supplement scandal.
Yeah, so Clean Label Project and Mumavation, they tested over 100 plus clean supplements and found that 14 major brands were mislabeling their product. So they contained heavy metals like lead, cadmium, arsenic, and sometimes they were above safety standards. And then a lot of them were lacking, third-party testing or certificates of analysis when they were claiming that they have them. And so some of these were big brands like Ritual, Mary Ruth Organics, Ollie. Yeah, Now Foods. Thorne had one.
No.
Kirkland Signature, so slap on Costco.
Holy shit, that is crazy. I had no idea these brands were greenwashing stuff. That's freaking nuts. This further reinforces why this show and what we do is so important, in my opinion. Somebody's got to be doing this kind of stuff. We should get them on the pod. Who did this project? Clean Label Project and Mumavation. We should talk to them.
Yeah,
if anybody in the audience knows these people, please connect us. I would love to have them on the show and talk about this with them. This is wild. I cannot believe this. I'm appalled.
My opinion is that I don't think necessarily these brands were maybe aware that they're mislabeling. A lot of supplement companies aren't manufacturing things on their own. They're actually white labeling or using contract development manufacturing organizations to manufacture their supplements. And so you have to be so on top of your own supply chain and make sure that everything's tested properly, you have third-party testing, and that, with each batch, they're actually meeting the requirements and doses that you're manufacturing. And so it's a tough world out there. And I think this is just kind of a demand for supplement companies to do better. Yeah,
what was that lip balm or the balm that we had on the pod? that talked about small batch. Who was it? I can't remember. Can you remember?
Dr. Doug's. Dr. Doug's.
Dr. Doug's Miracle
They
Balm.
were
There it
great.
is. Good
Yes.
work. She talked about one of the founders of that company talked about small batch manufacturing and how they have absolute and total control over their supply chain, their manufacturing, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And she's working to scale up small batch manufacturing so more and more companies can actually do that. She even talks about like they would get some of I can't remember what it was. It was vanilla, or I can't remember what the ingredient was that she was talking about. She will get like shipments of it. She'll smell it or look at it and it's like, oh, this is not good. And she'll send it back. And she's that much control over what's in her stuff. So I would guess that they would not probably run into some of these issues, and they can still manufacture at scale. So this is interesting.
Yeah, because very often you're a supplement brand and you're working with a formulator and a lab, and like you're basically just doing the marketing, and that lab or CDMO is manufacturing the supplements. They're the ones who are ordering like ingredients, mixing them together, making sure the ingredients meet spec, and then contracting out another lab to do the final COA. So very often, if you don't have your own facility, you're not manufacturing yourself, which basically nobody is because it's so expensive. Somebody else is doing all this for you, so you have to be watching over it.
Oh, crap. If someone is doing that, what is something that they could do to put in an extra check or something? Is there anything that they could do?
Well, like working with a GMP certified facility would be one, because they have to uphold certain standards. And then usually you have your own quality assurance process. Like a lot of pharmaceutical companies, so I worked for a CDMO, they would actually have their own quality assurance process that we would have to abide by. So you have a quality assurance process to be a GMP manufactured facility, and then who you're manufacturing for will also have their quality process. They'll say, hey, I want to see like COAs of for say I'm making a batch of lion's mane for somebody. And so all the ingredients that will go into making that lion's mane supplement, you'll say to the company, hey, I want to see like certificates of analysis for every single ingredient that's come in. I want to see the certificate of analysis, the testing of that batch of lion's mane. So every time there's a new batch, you have to look at everything, right? And so every step of the supply chain, you kind of want to have your eyes on. And then once it's finished doing your heavy metal testing, doing the COA,
Holy shit.
and making sure everything hits your quality standards every single time. Because like manufacturing facilities can make mistakes, right? There can be something wrong with the lines. There could be something wrong with like an incoming product. There can be variation. You just don't know.
Wow. There needs to be somebody that can help people with this kind of stuff. Like, especially if you're going to build your brand around transparency and some of this kind of stuff. Like, I mean, part of me feels bad at times because there's probably some founder that's trying to get stuff that is net good in general. I was at CrossFit yesterday, and our trainer, he owns the gym, and he talked CrossFit. The diet for CrossFit that everyone talks about is like eating protein, eating nuts and seeds, fruits, veggies, low like crappy starches and low sugar. And he was like, if it's grass-fed, cool. If it's not, fine. If it's not organic, fine. If it's a fruit, eat it. Like, that is more important than all this other bullshit necessarily. And I feel like we forget about some of this stuff. And so I feel like there's probably some founder of these companies that are just like, I'm just trying to get this stuff out into the world because it's net probably better. Maybe. I don't know. It's interesting. There's so much stuff. Sometimes it's hard to not just be anxious walking into a fucking store and being like, am I just being lied to constantly? So,
and I think it's good to keep healthy perspective. I haven't looked at the lead, cadmium, mercury levels or what have you. But I think when it comes to dosing, so say, some company thinks that there's 300 milligrams of magnesium in their product, and actually there's only 200. That stuff happens, and that's not really dangerous. It's more the heavy metal stuff that I would be concerned about.
What would be a genius idea?
Doses.
Yeah. What would be a genius idea is a home kit for you to do this testing yourself. Fuck having to send all this stuff in for analysis or whatever. When you get the final product in your kitchen, having something or some way to test shit yourself would be amazing. And be able to test specific brands and things like that. Like, if you're a founder in our audience and you want to do this, reach out to me. I will help you with the marketing, the branding, the sales. We'll connect you with brands, whatever you need. But I just feel like that home test kit type thing would be so interesting for this exact reason. Just to test these things. Break open a capsule, put it into a thing and test it right at home or something. I have no idea how that would happen, or I'd have to study this much more in depth, but that would be so useful and so valuable, I feel like. So interesting. All right. Great one. I'm glad we brought that up for the peeps. We'll put the full list in the description too.
Yeah.
In the findings, all that kind of stuff too, so that people know what brands to look out for and things. These would be great ones to get on the podcast, the general podcast, and have a conversation with them as well about some of these things and hear like what's up with them and things like that. So that'd be cool. All right, let's talk inside the lab. Inside the lab moment. We're breaking down complex science. Today, we're talking about honey massages. I cannot say that with a straight freaking face. Let's just take a look at what I'm talking about here. So this is a post that our brand manager CJ sent to us of a guy getting a honey massage.
Is it actually real?
So what the guy, this massage therapist talks about is the benefits, which discovered the incredible benefits. This is a ChatGPT response. Like, come on, like this is absolutely a ChatGPT caption, which I get. I mean, I use, but I make it human. But it talks about the benefits of honey massages, and he claims that it's a natural moisturizer. There's antioxidants inside of it. It can reduce inflammation. It can increase blood flow and circulation. It detoxifies. It stimulates the lymphatic system. ASMR, like literally every buzzword in the health and wellness space you could possibly think about was used to promote this method. So your boy did some research. All right, so let's talk first and foremost, a natural moisturizer. So honey can pull water out of the outer layer of your skin and improve the moisture in your skin. Like that is true. There was a study in 2020 that showed that bee products and their gels boost skin hydration for 24 hours. So that claim is at least supported. I think most people probably kind of known that and understood that. The antioxidant effect, so it fights inflammation. So this is partially kind of in a way true. It is loaded with polyphenols and it does calm surface inflammation. Like think about like minor wound, if it's healing a minor wound or maybe acne in a way. But there's zero evidence that it's like a quick back massage or having some dude just blow apart your chest like that lowers body-wide inflammation. So there's very limited research on that claim. The third claim he makes is it boosts circulation. So for muscle recovery, regular massage without pouring honey all over your body bumps local microcirculation for about an hour. Honey, like the stick and pull, kind of acts like mini cupping in a way, but studies still find that the flow bump is very, very tiny and the gains that he talks about are completely unproven. So if there's any effect, it's very tiny and it's modest, just to be for real. The other things he talks about is detoxification through enzymes, of course, because why not put that in a post on social media? One single lab study found that honey can pick up trace metals, but we're talking less than 5% of the daily recommended intake. So literally so minuscule, it's not even funny. Your liver and your kidneys are still doing 99.9999999% of the detoxification. So weak to no evidence on that claim. All right, next up, we got the lymph for immunity. Massage pressure can nudge superficial lymph flow. So like on the surface or towards like if you massage your lymph nodes in your neck, a lot of people do that. It helps me when I'm feeling sick. But research calls this a temporary boost and it's not specific to honey. And there is no human trials that have tied honey in this massage to a stronger immune system in any way, shape, or form. So that's a completely unproven, unevidenced or non-evidence-backed claim. All right, last one. ASMR and warm honey melting your stress away. Massage alone drops your cortisol without anything. Like if ASMR gives you the tingles, it can decrease your heart rate. But again, that's audio magic. That has nothing to do with honey. And to me, the sound that was making gave me the ick. So it can be a great moisturizer. It can feel nice. Like every massage can feel nice. It doesn't detox you. The ASMR could help you, but that's audio. It's not helping with your immunity in the way that it's talking about. So, and it can superficially help with some minimal blood flow while it's happening. So enjoy the stickiness, but it's not going to suck the sin out of your skin. So that's where we're at with honey massages. What are your thoughts on this, Chloe? Would you get a honey massage?
I don't know. I hate being sticky.
Me too. Imagine the cleanup for that.
Yeah. I mean, I just have a lot of questions. I think if there was, I guess, there's probably like a shower nearby and you could just clean it all off for a pool or whatever. Maybe I would. You know what? I would try it. I'd try it.
Hey, my girlfriend Mel says she would try anything 3 times.
3 times. Okay, my thing is like I'd try anything twice. 3 times is bold.
She is a bold woman. Mm-hmm. In relation to honey massages, I mean, I would try it 3 times. I mean, I have adopted that mindset, but
maybe they have a package of free
Yeah, I mean, I would do it for the massage benefits, not because I think it's going to like detoxify my body and pull trace minerals.
Are there reviews?
Are the reviews on honey massages?
Yeah.
Oh, I have no idea. I didn't even look at that guy's website necessarily. I just was looking at the bold claims ChatGPT was making that were unfounded by science. So, but it's supposed to be a Tibetan thing, apparently. So, oh, and if you have bee allergies, absolutely don't do this, obviously. So that's our Inside the Lab moment for today. Hope that was as entertaining for you as it was for us. It was a wild, uncomfortable time. But all right, looks like you got some Q&A from our audience. Talk to us here. What do we got today?
So number one, do mushrooms actually help with focus?
Good question for you.
Yeah, I would say that we don't have any real strong clinical research that say lion's mane mushrooms or cordyceps increase acetylcholine directly. However, anecdotally, I think they can be really, really helpful. And especially when it comes to lowering inflammation. So in a roundabout way, yes. A lot of times we have brain fog and can't focus because we're inflamed. And so mushrooms can really help with that.
Interesting. Yeah, anecdotally, I could say the same. It could be placebo, but whatever it is, it works. I love it.
Yeah.
When I'm on magnetic mind, I feel very different than when I am not.
Yes.
Like that's an absolute fact. For me, that does not mean it is research backed necessarily. It's just for me, that's how I feel. All right, number two, can AI really replace a therapist? I think we talked about this. To me, it's a human in the loop thing. It's not quite there totally yet. I think it'd be great for crisis. I think it'd be great for in between sessions. I think it'd be great for triage. Does it fully replace a therapist yet? No. Will it? Undoubtedly. What do you think?
I don't think it'll ever replace humans, which I think is a really good thing. Like, we're just always going to need that human touch.
Yeah, fair.
But I think it can be an adjunct therapy where if you don't have access to a human, I think it's a really, really great tool.
Yeah, that's fair. I think it'll open up avenues for us to redefine what a human therapist does, and what their role is and such. I think they could lead experiences and human experiences and things like that. But the things that a human therapist does today, I think the traditional sit in a chair, talk with someone, give them homework, and see the next client, I do believe that whole process can be and will be replaced by therapy. I think that will open up an opportunity for humans to do deeper, more valuable healing and continue to push the edge of like what can help us as humans mentally and emotionally. So yeah. All right, the next one's a great one for you. How do I verify if a supplement is safe?
Yeah. So I would look for certifications like NSF or USP, so that's National Sanitation Foundation, or United States Pharmacopoeia. These are basically like large third-party organizations that certify products to make sure they meet like public health and safety standards. And the USP one specifically makes sure that it's meeting that. It's saying that the dose that's in there is actually in there and that it's meeting certain quality standards, that's manufactured to GMP standards. And so if you see those, it's a really good sign.
Love that. We did a good podcast with Bernie from MindRight, and he had a lot of really, really awesome information around this manufacturing process, what to look for, how hard it is for consumers and also potential entrepreneurs in this space. So I thought that was kind of interesting. That drops in season 2. So if you're not already subscribed, definitely subscribe so you can get that
was one of my favorite ones. It's a good one.
Yeah, it was a great one. I really like that one. JP Erico with True Vega was one of my faves as well.
Yeah.
And then Dr. Zach, as always, is a legend. So cool. Well, that's all we got for you. Thank you so much. We've got coming up this week, we're interviewing Michael from Inostasol Health. So excited. You're doing some of the prep for that. Have you looked into what they do or anything so far?
No.
That's okay. I was just curious. I haven't.
It's a good blow with ADHD living it the last minute.
Yeah, no worries at all. I was just curious. I didn't know.
They actually, so I do know a little bit. They have dissolvable strips. So they basically have like melatonin. What else do they have? I was looking into their melatonin strips because I thought there's vitamin D and electrolytes, which I think is really cool. Really interested in the electrolyte strips because I'm like, that's kind of cool. And you don't need to like mix it with water, although it is sometimes good to get your electrolytes in with a bunch of water. But really interesting. Might be just easier for like carrying sake.
Dude, all these new different delivery methodologies really excite me. I'm very excited to chat with you now. We've got an interview with Dr. Ben from Stanford coming up. We've got Dr. Christoph, who's coming up, who is a acolyte of Dr. Paul Zak, actually. He's a neuromarketing specialist. He wrote a book on persuasion, human consumer persuasion, and we're going to be interviewing him soon, talking about how marketing companies are manipulating your brain. And he is a literal neuroscientist that studies that and knows how the 8 channels or the 8 gates that they take your brain through to try and get you to buy things and shift your behavior. So that'll be an exciting one. There's a lot of cool stuff happening in season 2. So more reaction videos coming up
Mhm.
with Chloe and I. So, or sorry, with CJ and I. Reaction videos are with CJ and I. So should be a fun time. If you guys have a topic you want us to dig into on our host only shows, please drop them in the comments. Or if there is a product service founder, somebody you want us to chat with in Grill, drop in the comments, DM us on Instagram. We'd love to hear from y'all. Or if you just want to say hi, just say hi to us. We love that. But that's it for our rapid rundown. Thanks for hanging with us on the Decision Lab. Stay healthy, stay curious. Catch you next time. Peace.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.